What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Kid Taj and another NBA video I have for you today. And this video is called Why James Harden is Overrated. So, how do I put this? Every once in a while, I just think about certain things in the NBA. Right now, I have a lot of time to think about things because it's the off season. I want to talk about these things, and maybe this is only temporary, but this video is about why James Harden is overrated. Now, before I get into why he's overrated, I just want to tell you guys that I'm not trying to knock on James Harden with this video. I know he's a terrific basketball player. He's one of the best offensive players in the NBA in terms of scoring the basketball. And he is a very good player, and this is just my opinion. And when I watch basketball, this is how I think. And this is really, I think that he deserves too much credit. And I want to start off by saying this. The NBA atmosphere, the fan base is directed towards offense and scoring the ball. Fans are going to gravitate toward players and teams that put the ball in the basket a lot. They're just more fun to watch. A casual fan would rather watch a guy score a lot of points than teams playing lockdown defense. It doesn't always look very attractive on the basketball court. So that might be a reason why people love James Harden. This guy puts up a lot of points. He has the ball in his hands a lot, and I would call him a ball hog. But he puts the ball in the basket. People like seeing people put the ball in the basket, and also people like stats. Some fans, they might say, well, if you can put up amazing statistical numbers, you're automatically a great player. And James Harden, well, you can't really argue with the stats. Obviously, he's putting up 29 points, 7.5 assists, and 6 rebounds last season. And that's just unbelievable. There are very few players in the NBA capable of such a feat. No one was doing that last season, I can tell you that. But I just want to really delve deeper into what those numbers mean, because obviously he's going to put up great numbers, and obviously you can't argue with the fact that those numbers are correct. Okay, that's what he did last season, but how hard was it for him to get those numbers, and how good does it really make him? Let me talk about the defensive side of the ball. And I know you guys knew this was coming, okay? A James Harden video about him being overrated. Was defense going to be mentioned? Probably, definitely, okay? This guy is an awful defensive player. And I like to think that offense and defense are equals, at least scoring and defense, okay? The passing the ball, the rebounding, athleticism, like all the other types of ways you can be good at basketball, those aren't the same, but I like to think that scoring the basketball and defense are equals. You don't want people to score, and you want to score. Like, those two things should be balanced, right? James Harden can score among the great players in the NBA, but he can't guard a soul. And I don't know if this is because he's a bad defensive player, or if he just is so lazy that he only plays offense. I mean, think about it. I know you guys have seen the clips. I know you have. And I know he was Shaq in a full MVP because he didn't play defense last year. It wasn't like he was screwing up that much in other areas. I mean, I'm sure that he wasn't great everywhere, but you know he wasn't playing defense because everybody has seen the clips on James Harden. And some people might be like, oh, well, he gets 2 steals and a block a game or half a block a game, so he can't be that bad at defense. You know that they're just catching him lacking sometimes when he's just not playing defense, but he does play defense most of the time. It's just when he doesn't, they catch him. Well, for the people that say that, I want to make an argument here. James Harden, take a look at the starting lineup of the Houston Rockets last season. You have Patrick Beverley at point guard. What is Patrick Beverley known for? Well, Patrick Beverley is known for being a hounding defensive player. That's why he's on the court. If you have this guy at point guard, your defense should probably be pretty good. I mean, he is one of the best. He's a top 5 defensive point guard in the NBA. I mean, he's that good on that end. It's what he does. He plays his heart out every night. He's the opposite of James Harden. He really is. I mean, they're like the polar opposites on the floor together. Now, as small forward last season, you had Trevor Ariza. This guy was among the top small forwards and just top players in the NBA in steals per game last year. He sticks defense on the best wing player that team is going up against that night. He is going to be there, and he's going to guard that guy. Now, Donatas Motiejunas, I think, was injured sometimes, and he was playing power forward. I don't remember who was starting, but they had a couple power forwards, right? That position is irrelevant for now. At center, they had Dwight Howard. Last season, he played more games than he did the season before, And Dwight Howard is a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Now, I'm not saying that he's that good at defense right now. I'm not saying he's in that element of being that good of a player right now, because he's obviously not the same player as he was when he was on Orlando. But you think with a guy that can be among the top shot blockers and shot changers, he's one of the most athletic players to ever play the center position. She's a pretty good defender still, okay? I know he's not the same, but he's still really good on that side. So if you have 3 guys, Beverly, Ariza, and Howard, on your squad in the starting lineup playing 30 or 35 plus minutes per night, how is your defense 21st in defensive efficiency, 21st in defensive rating, 24th in opponents' points in the paint, and 25th, yes, 25th out of 30 teams in the NBA in opponents' points per game? Are you serious? With those guys on your team? I mean, there were only 5 teams worse than you on defense and points per game. Are you actually serious? This blew my mind. I mean, I really couldn't believe this when I saw it. James Harden is the weak link. I mean, what else could it be? Why else would they be 25th in opponents' points per game if they have those guys on their team? On their bench, they got Corey Brewer, who's known for being a decent defender, okay? They've got, I mean, look, I know their bench isn't going to play as much as their starters, but you'd think that this team, I mean, come on. He could be costing them points every single time down the floor because a player on their starting lineup had to make up for a defensive failure that he did. Like, someone's bringing help, so that man is open, so they score. Like, it could all, every score by the opponent could be triggered by him screwing up. I mean, that's terrible. And to top it all off, their offense, I mean, it was decent. And, like, you can't say that James Harden doesn't have help. I don't like when people say that. Because if you look at the players on his team, there's no reason to say that. Look at Russell Westbrook right now. I don't think Russell Westbrook has that much help. I don't think he does. I mean, look at the players on his team. He's got Oladipo, who hasn't really proven himself as a star yet. Steven Adams, who's like a hustle guy, defensive guy. Enes Kanter, who's the one guy on that team that you can give the ball to other than Oladipo and be like, score. Andre Robertson, who literally doesn't do anything to play defense. Like, that guy doesn't have a lot of help. But James Harden? Are you kidding me? Ariza is a spot-up shooter. That guy can hit shots. Beverly, he's not a big offensive guy, but he plays defense, and he can shoot the occasional shot. Dwight Howard does not get enough touches. He didn't get enough touches when he was in Houston, as it was. And they've got a decent bench. Okay, their bench is not half bad. Their defense is terrible, and it's because of James Harden. I don't understand this. It doesn't make any sense. Now, let's talk about James Harden on offense. 29 points per game. Wow, that's something, isn't it? But I don't know if people knew this. James Harden set the record last season for most turnovers in a season. I don't think he needed to have the ball in his hands as much as he did. The players on his team, do you really need to commit the most turnovers in the league? I don't see why he did. I mean, whatever. I think they barely made the 8th seed and damn near got swept. They would have got swept if Curry had played. That's another story. And not only last season was he terrible, but he also holds the record for the most seasons leading the league in turnovers. He's led the league in turnovers 3 years in his career. And he's in his prime now. I mean, are you serious? This is ridiculous. And it's probably because his usage rate is so high. He's a ball hog. He has the ball in his hands all the time. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And people call this guy a top 5 player. People call this guy the top shooting guard. I mean, yeah, if you just consider taking the ball every single time down and maybe getting a foul or a turnover every possession. Like, I know he scores the ball, but how much is he really helping? He takes so many shots a game. I know that his rebound numbers are good. Okay, I'm not going to throw shade on that. That's fine. The assists, 7.5 assists is really good for a shooting guard, but he's also led the league in turnovers. So his assist-to-turnover ratio isn't very good, and it makes him very inefficient. His steals, all of his defensive numbers, I'm just going to ignore because it would be ridiculous to pay that any mind. I mean, are you kidding me? If you're really making your team a 25th, a bottom 5 or bottom 6 team in opponents' points per game, like how is that even possible? This is just, I can't even believe this. I mean, I know he's a great offensive player and he's flashy and people like him and he's one of the most known players, and he was like second place for MVP in 14-15. Probably should have won it, actually, because he was doing so good that year. But this, he really took a step back, and I just don't even know. People call him a top 5 player. People call him the best shooting guard in the league. I honestly, I can't. If people knew, I mean, if people knew about this is unbelievable. Well, that's gonna wrap it up. I actually didn't know. I went on ESPN and NBA.com for these stats, team stats, team defensive stats, and yeah, this is what I came up with. This is something. All right, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I like doing these NBA talk, NBA news, not news, but NBA discussion type videos. I have a playlist for it. If you guys want to check it out to see more of those, please like for more of these. Comment suggestions for what you want to see from me in the future, and subscribe. I'm out. Thanks for watching, y'all. Peace.